Welcome to the Deep Dive. We grab a whole stack of sources, reports, you name it, and boil them down to what you really need to know. Today, we're plunging into something pretty exciting, actually, the global marine energy market. It's growing like crazy and really changing the energy game. Our mission, basically, is to unpack the latest numbers, the projections, and figure out what's really driving this whole sector forward. We're drawing heavily from a new market report here. And just to give you a sense of scale right off the bat, the market pulled in nearly $750 million back in 2021. Okay. But get this, it's projected to shoot past $7.5 billion by 2033. That's a compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, for like over 21%, for more than 10 years. That's huge.
It is truly remarkable. And, it means more than just numbers on a page. When we talk marine energy, we're talking about harnessing the ocean's power waves, tides, even temperature differences with OTEC. This kind of growth, that sustained 21%, it tells you these technologies are, well, they're coming of age. They're moving beyond just pilots and tests. They're becoming real, viable options for clean power. It really signals a major shift, a global commitment to diversifying how we get sustainable energy.
Right. So just to paint that global picture again, almost $750 million in 2021, then jumping to over $1.6 billion by 2025. And then, like you said, hitting that massive $7.5 billion by 2033 really shows a strong, consistent climb. So what's fueling this? Is it specific tech breakthroughs, or is it more about policy, investment, that kind of thing?
That's a great question. And it's not just one thing. It's really a mix of factors, according to the report. Technology-wise, yeah, there are big strides being made. Things are getting more efficient, costs are coming down. You've got, for instance, new tidal turbine designs that are tougher, easier to maintain out there in the rough seas. That directly helps their long-term viability. And we're also seeing advances in, the underwater cables and energy storage that are specifically for marine energy, tackling those grid connection issues.
Okay, because generating the power is one thing, but getting it to shore reliably is another challenge entirely.
Exactly. Then beyond the tech, you have this huge push from environmental concerns. People are worried, governments are acting. It's not just vague go green stuff anymore. It's actual national, international policies setting tough decarbonization targets. And leaders are realizing, solar and wind are great, but they need more tools in the toolbox. Marine energy is predictable, it's dense, it can fill crucial gaps.
Predictability, that's a key difference compared to some other renewables, isn't it? The tides are pretty reliable.
Precisely. And the last big piece is investment, just more money flowing in. We're seeing government grants, research funding, sure, but also increasingly private equity. Even the big traditional energy companies are putting serious cash into marine projects now. They see the long-term potential, and that financial backing is absolutely critical because historically this stuff has been expensive to get off the ground.
Okay, that sets the stage perfectly. So with that global picture, let's kind of zoom in. Let's look at the regions really driving this growth. North America, for instance, a major play. They did, over $230 million in 2021, predicted to cross $500 million by 2025, and then surge past $2.3 billion by 2033, still holding that strong 21% CAGR. What's the story within North America?
Yeah, North America is interesting. They're leveraging those long coastlines, obviously, but also sometimes existing offshore infrastructure, maybe from oil and gas. The U.S. is the heavyweight, no surprise. Over $167 million back in 21, looking at over $1.5 billion by 2033. That's just over a 20% CAGR. But actually, Canada's growth rate is slightly faster, started smaller, around $48 million, but forecast to hit over $530 million by 2033. That's nearly a 22% CAGR.
Okay.
And Mexico's not far behind either, from about $21 million up to over $235 million predicted. That's a 21.5% CAGR. So it's pretty broad growth across the region.
Right, not just one country carrying the load. Okay, let's hop across the Atlantic. Yeah. Europe. They've always been big in offshore energy, right? Europe's marine energy scene is also booming, from over $180 million in 2021 up to a projected $1.78 billion by 2033. Again, nearly 21% CAGR. Who are the leaders there? Any surprises?
Well, Europe's offshore wind experience definitely helps lay the groundwork. Germany, for example, is looking strong, around $43 million in 21, projected near $440 million by 33. A solid 21% CAGR. The UK, with all its tidal power potential, is key too. About $30 million initially, projected over $325 million by 33. That's a 21.6% CAGR. France shows good growth too, heading towards $255 million. Italy, Russia, Spain, Sweden, Denmark, Switzerland. They're all in the mix with KGRs around 19-21%.
Okay, quite a list.
Yeah. But what's really fascinating are some of the, let's say, smaller players showing huge growth rates. Luxembourg, believe it or not, started tiny, $2.7 million, projected to hit over $30 million, but with the highest KGR in Europe, almost 23%.
Wow, Luxembourg, okay.
And even more telling, maybe, is the category rest of Europe, just lumped together. That second has a CAGR over 26.5%. It suggests there's a lot of activity bubbling up in various spots across the continent.
That is interesting. Shows it's spreading beyond just the big coastal nations.
Yeah.
Okay, let's turn to Asia Pacific. This region looks like it's climbing really fast. Nearly $130 million in 2021, forecast to hit almost $1.4 billion by 2033, and a slightly higher CAGR here, almost 21.8%. Given the massive energy needs there, what's fueling this?
Yeah, Asia-Pacific's growth is really something. It's driven by, well, huge energy demand increases and some really ambitious renewable energy goals set by governments. China is, as you'd guess, a major force. Started around $41 million in 21, projected over $455 million by 2033. That's a 22% CAGR.
Right.
Japan's also significant, nearly $18 million, growing to over $183 million. But India really jumps out. It has the strongest CAGR in the region, over 22.6%. That takes its market from about $18 million up to over $217 million by 2033.
India's growth is really notable there. Any other key players in Asia?
Oh, absolutely. South Korea, Australia, Singapore, they're all showing strong growth too, with KGRs over 21%. Singapore, for example, is projected to go from about $15 million to almost $160 million. And Taiwan. Taiwan actually has the highest projected CGR in the Asia-Pacific region, over 23.1%. It's starting smaller, about $4 million, but expected to hit over $50 million. So, yeah, it points to a really diverse and rapidly expanding marine energy scene across Asia, driven by both need and opportunity.
Got it. All right, let's switch continents again. South America. Starting to emerge as a pretty significant area, too, it seems. Sales there were nearly $96 million in 2021, projected over $915 million by 2033. That's a 20.9% CAGR, roughly. Brazil looks like a big part of that. Over $35 million in 21, heading for almost $348 million, right? A 21.2% CGR. What's the significance there?
Brazil's definitely a key player, yes. And Argentina's right there, too, growing from about $20 million to nearly $198 million by 33, also around a 21% CAGR. Colombia is showing solid growth as well, from about $14 million up to over $137 million. Peru, Chile, they're also showing decent HGRs in the 20% range. What this really indicates for South America is this growing interest across the continent. It's a move towards diversifying their energy sources, reducing reliance on older fuels, and many of these countries have huge coastlines, so the potential is definitely there.
Makes sense. Okay, moving to the Middle East, another region showing actually a remarkably strong growth path. Over $57 million in 2021, projected nearly $630 million by 2033. That's a CAGR of almost 22%. Saudi Arabia seems to be leading the pack, around $18.7 million to over $215 million, with a really strong 22.4% CAGR. That feels like a big shift for the region.
It definitely is. The Middle East is showing real potential in this energy transition. And look at the UAE. It actually has the highest projected CAGR in the region, over 22.7%, going from about $9 million up to over $109 million by 2033. Turkey and Egypt are also big contributors, both over 21% CAGR. Qatar, too, around 22%.
Interesting.
Yeah, this push into marine renewables fits into their larger plans to, diversify their economies away from just oil and gas and become players in clean tech. It shows this global shift is really happening everywhere.
Right. Okay, last region to cover, Africa. Described as a developing market here, recorded nearly $45 million in 2021, projected to hit over $460 million by 2033. That's a 21.4% CAGR. Nigeria seems important here.
Yes, Nigeria is significant, from about $15.7 million up to over $171 million projected, with a 21.6% CAGR. South Africa is another major contributor. Started a bit bigger, around $20 million, projected over $211 million. That's a 21.6% CAGR. The rest of Africa category also shows growth, though at a slightly lower CAGR, around 19.7%. While the starting numbers are smaller compared to, say, Asia or Europe, these growth rates show that marine energy is definitely on the radar, even in emerging markets. It's seen as part of the future energy mix, especially given Africa's vast coastal resources and, frankly, its energy access challenges.
Okay, wow. So let's try and wrap this up. What does this all mean for you listening? We've gone through some pretty staggering growth numbers for global marine energy, from that, nearly $750 million in 2021, all the way up to that $7.5 billion projection for 2033. Just incredible. We saw how North America, Europe, Asia Pacific, South America, The Middle East, Africa, they're all playing a part. Each has its leaders, its drivers, but that consistent high growth, that 21-ish% CAGR, is almost everywhere. And the key forces, as we discussed, seem to be tech getting better and cheaper, serious environmental pressure pushing for action, and crucially, the money flowing in.
That's a perfect summary. And connecting it to the sort of the bigger picture,
Yep.
understand this isn't just about big numbers. It's about seeing a vital piece of the global energy puzzle evolving. These figures really highlight how the world is leaning more and more on a diverse set of renewables. Marine energy is stepping up, offering that reliable, predictable power alongside solar and wind. So yeah, for anyone watching energy trends or just interested in sustainability, getting a handle on the scale and speed of this marine energy growth is, well, it's pretty essential.
Absolutely essential. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground, looked at the data, the projections. It leaves me thinking, though, considering this huge projected growth, what hidden challenges, maybe, or perhaps unforeseen innovations do you think could pop up? Things that might either turbocharge this growth even faster or maybe unexpectedly reshape how marine energy actually develops in the next decade or so. Something to
Yeah.
chew on.